For every complex problem, there is an answer that is clear, simple, and wrong. Programming should get easier over time as every language and framework or approach becomes easier to learn. But even though our day-to-day becomes easier, there are evergreen topics with age-old questions that nobody seems to entirely agree on, such as architecture, productivity, project management, code quality, the list goes on. What is the best language? What makes clean code clean? Is AI going to take over? Typically, with more knowledge, you gain more confidence in your ability. But to these questions, it seems to go in the opposite direction. The more I know, the more I doubt what I know. I've been puzzled with the evergreen topics for way longer than I care to admit, but I think I have finally figured this out. But before I tell you the indisputably, universally correct answer, I think it's important we think about thinking a bit. The information you're surrounded with and how you deal with it matters more than you might realize. In his book Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman explains this through two systems of thinking. System 1 is the intuitive, automatic, and fast, and System 2 is focused, critical, and slow. If you think of your brain like a server, then System 1 is the cheap caching layer, and System 2 is a slow backend service. Because your backend is expensive, the caching layer is tuned to attempt to produce an answer, even if it doesn't know the answer. It is inclined to return the most fitting result, or a result that might sound the least wrong. Your own brain is lying to you probably more than ChatGPT does. Or, in Daniel Kahneman's words, if a satisfactory answer to a hard question is not found quickly, System 1 will find a related question that is easier and will answer it. This is great for conserving energy and producing results fast, but not so great for making thorough decisions. So why does it matter? When you ask a question like, what's the best programming language for this project? Your brain may activate System 2 and think things through, or it might just return the results from an easier question instead, such as, what language am I most comfortable with? What language have I seen mentioned the most? What language did I use last time? This happens so fast that you don't even notice it. When you see Rust is fast 100 times, your caching layer stores that and increases the weight of that result. And when the time comes and you're asked, how do we make the app go faster? Your System 1 confidently returns, Rust is fast, we should rewrite this in Rust. Most of the time, System 1 is great. I think this is why writing code becomes easier over time. The more you do it, the better your System 1 gets at producing accurate results with less effort. However, it may also nudge you towards overvaluing or undervaluing an idea based on the frequency algorithm, or making a snap decision without realizing it and rationalize it later. Evergreen topics can exist because by definition they don't have a right answer. So in many ways, we've just engaged in a yelling competition online. Whoever reaches more eyeballs wins the round, but everyone loses the match because nuance is buried in the process, effectively feeding your System 1 junk food. I'm avoiding specific examples here on purpose because I'm sure you can come up with a few of your own in the comments. I'll explore them in other videos, but the most important takeaway here is that even the most well-meaning content creators can still present only the tip of their experience in the form of an opinion, with very little context when talking about evergreen topics, and opinions at mass are dangerous. You have probably seen a tier list like this before. We could rank programming languages here, but before we do, I think we should modify it slightly. There, now it's perfect. You can now safely adapt it to any topic, languages, frameworks, anything you can think of. Everything goes in the it depends rank. This is because universal truths in programming have already been written down as algorithms, formulas, or standards that we have to live with. Everything else is a context-dependent opinion. At the risk of upsetting a few people and my past self, there is no best programming practice. no best programming language, no best framework or architecture. There is only nuance, context, and trade-offs. That's where you come in. So what does this mean? Should we abandon all hope and enjoy the warm dumpster fire? Not necessarily. If you think about it, it's kind of liberating. Every project is a new challenge, and you get better after each success or failure. There's always something to learn. Does that mean that you should throw out your current ideas? No. Should you challenge them? Absolutely. To make better decisions, you need to be able to play all sides. It sounds simple, but it's not easy. It's not enough to just learn to parrot the talking points. You have to walk the walk. To truly become a devil's advocate, you need to be able to internalize the counter opinions. You learn to make informed decisions accepting trade-offs, and there are always trade-offs. If you can't find flaws in the decision that you're about to make, you're not making an informed decision. Here are a few guiding principles that I go by. Acknowledge that you don't know everything. That is okay. You can fail, you can try again, and you can learn. Avoid echo chambers of opinions that you already agree with. Seek counter opinions instead. Always look for nuance, context, and trade-offs, especially in the content that you consume. And scrutinize your automatic System 1 answers and question your assumptions. The only indisputably correct answer to everything is that there is no universal answer. So take everything with a grain of salt, especially from some YouTube